last season. Just that top four is just a little bit beyond them at the moment. But these two boys, well, these two sets of players here tonight are very much at the top of the game.
Bayern have won the Bundesliga title 3 seasons in a row now. 25 league crowns for them. And during that time, Real haven't won the league crown at all in Spain. Change of coach during the summer. Carlo Ancelotti dispatched after a second-place finish last season, and Rafa Benitez brought in. Ancelotti being sized up by a lot of MLS clubs at the moment, apparently, but no doubt he'll pop up somewhere big very soon. Played wide for La. Very easy cut out in the end for Sergio Ramos. Disappointment at having finished third the season before last, obviously tempered by lifting La Decima, their 10th Champions League crown. Lucas Vazquez, who's just come up from the B team, Real Madrid Castilla, and his manager there, Zinedine Zidane, is Isco. To calm things down, Real did have a C team, and quite a few of their Champions League squad, the youngsters that are brought in to bolster things up, had featured for them, and quite a few of their squad tonight have also, at one time or another, played for Real Madrid C, but that team wound up during the summer, and they've been in existence since 1950. Had been known as Real Madrid Amateurs for quite a while, set up by fans of the club and brought into the club then around 25 years ago. Money-saving exercise. Even Real are tightening their belts now. Long by Pepe, too long.
Yeah, I think they'll look for that ball though. Lucas Vazquez is extremely quick, really lightning pace. The likes of him out there this evening, that is a ball that can work for them. As I've said, the quality of the opposition might just pick it off a little bit simpler than others, but he is really quick, and they will look for that ball across the back. Alaba. It's one of the forward changes tonight. Joshua Kimmich, who went off very early as a result of the challenge of Nigel de Jong last night, went off 20 minutes in, and there was that tunnel bust-up between de Jong and Pep Guardiola, which we showed you last night, and obviously you'll have read a lot more about today. Well, Kimmich has been given the all-clear. He's not involved in any capacity tonight. He's been told by club doctors to rest. They hope he'll be okay for the cup game away at Nottingham the weekend to get the competitive season underway properly for Bayern, but he will probably miss it. He's been told to miss training for a couple of days, the new signing from Stuttgart. Well, I think it's fair to say we have seen one or two robust challenges in the game so far, but generally speaking, I think there seems to be a little bit of a pact between the players to keep things very simple if they can.
Dani Carvajal putting the foot down, centred for Isco. Couldn't find a way through. Casemiro with the tee up, and what a fine strike that was from 30 yards. Toni Kroos back in his old stomping ground and almost marking it with a goal.
Yeah, good strike, good piece of play. Nice burst down the right-hand side, Carvajal. Kroos a little bit wide. I think it's got well covered there by Neuer. If we just go back to that little conversation we're having about tackling, I think you can actually see, we've seen on one or two of the players talking to each other during the game, and when there has been little incidents, almost saying to each other, look, no tackling, haven't they really? Seems to be a pact between the teams not to be overly strong on the chops. We have seen one or two, but generally speaking, I think the players have taken this on board and are looking very much to look after each other, but to make sure they're ready for their own particular seasons at the start.
Real still have another friendly to come, and it's against the Norwegian club Vålerenga next weekend before 23rd of August. Big kick-off in Spain against Sporting Gijón. Betis, their first home game.
Granada, their second home game. They scored 9 at the Bernabeu last season. Very well covered by Marcelo, and that will be a goal kick.
Already you see the difference in how Madrid set themselves up, their energy levels, the way they work across the back four are protected. Last night we saw AC Milan completely cut into pieces by this very talented Bayern Munich side, of course. But
the captain who doesn't make the league side.
Each team has for each other.
Iker Casillas,
very good pullback,
but has played in all of the Copa del Rey matches this season and the Champions League. And you have to admire his professionalism in such a wonderful career.
Very athletic.
Still only 32 years old.
People do forget at times
to come out in these cup games and perform at the level he has.
As well. That's very much part
swallowing hard, but losing his place to Diego Lopez.
Of a top player, has to be athletic.
Special word.
Sa challenge nito, nakahilang rounds and 3.
Major dividends.
Jering! Misa na Kuya Jering! Kuya Jering, tatlo na! Lipat na, ibang bola na si Kuya Jering! Diana may isa, dalawa. Tuesday isa. Kuya Jogger, dalawa na. Diana, dalawang orange. Dalawa na lang, Kuya Jeric. Three all na, Tuesday and Diana. Kuya Jeric, last one. Tuesday, apat na. Good, Kuya Jeric. Ibang kulay na si Kuya Jobert. Diana na ho. Ayan. Tuloy-tuloy. Diana start. Diana. Good, Kuya Jobert. Dito muna, ayan. Isa na lang kay Tuesday. Ayan na, makahabol.
Tonight.
Chance for one of the Real players to show what they're about. Generally speaking, Ronaldo and Bale will probably take over this situation. So I think one or two might be just wanting to show the manager just exactly what they can do.
It's a different cue this time, but cue Toni Kroos didn't go for it direct. Well, Ramos first went with the head. It ended up being a shot. He was claiming a drag back on him to Felix Breich.
He's always been in those positions, and not only from set pieces. I think in his very younger days, he used to play right back, centre back, but he was the most forward-thinking defender I'd ever seen when he was very young. You couldn't stop him running forward. Now he chooses his moments a lot better, doesn't he? But he's always been a threat in the box as Ramos.
Wasn't sent off last season. 19 of those in his career. That's a good ball headed away by Pepe, who has fallen foul of officialdom quite regularly himself. Just lovely control by Marcelo to get it away. The chase was on for Jesse. Las Palmas boy who missed the end of the season with a torn ACL. right knee. This is a lot more like a proper occasion compared to last night's semi-final where Bayern had it quite easy. Now it is Pepe who's gone down, and Audi Cup final or not, if there is a little twinge, then they won't want to risk him any further. And not only that, but Jerome Boateng, who hasn't featured a huge amount so far in this game, also receiving a little bit.
I think that last sprint, Boateng, was a big test for him. 2 games, 2 days. I think we forget what's all about with that. This is a blow for...
Nacho's going to come on to replace Pepe, and only 15 minutes played. Drinks break for everyone else. But that's the end of Pepe's Cup final at the Allianz Arena, and Nacho will be his replacement.
For me, this is the downside of these tournaments from the players' point of view. 2 games in 2 days. I know a lot's said about, oh, come on, get on with it, lads. You're fit enough to do this, but the way these boys play the game, that last sprint from Boateng was a great example. I watched him, and straight away I thought to myself, oh, he's really tested himself there. He's had a hard game last night. He's ran straight into a situation flat out against another quality player, and that's why you do get these little twists and strains. It's a big test. And at this stage, prior to the season starting, the last thing you want is a full hamstring strain, calf strain. You could miss 4 or 6 weeks at the start of the season with something like that.
But Bayern's first league game will be their 10th match since coming back together. I think they have another friendly to be played midweek immediately after that. I mean, when you were a manager, what was the optimum number of games to tune up?
Again, these tournaments weren't so much in existence. There were tournaments, but they were less of a high nature than these are. These are such high profile. The players are on show, television all over the world watching them. It's still a high profile game, even though they're on and off, and there's a lot more flexibility for the managers. It's still physically very demanding for players to play 2 games in 2 days. Once again, you can see the better players tend to be picked. Pepe's picked, Ramos is picked, you know, and so that there, Marcelo's out there again, and Vidal's there for Douglas Costa's there. If you just keep going through the teams, they always have a nucleus of 5 or 6 players who seem to play the majority of the games for players. Those lads are really tested.
So Nacho on to replace Pepe, and this one of the most watched pre-season tournaments. International Champions Cup is a beast of itself. Leaving that out, this tournament, as big as it gets, 164 countries are watching this live tonight. Things have moved on a bit for the days of the Makita Trophy. Carvajal. In terms of pre-season competitions, probably the earliest that our older viewers will probably remember might be the Audi Cup, which they played in the early 70s, where it was the top scoring team from each of the 4 divisions in England used to be in it.
Yeah. As I said, there are a lot of differences. As I said, I think we talked about it briefly last night. You know, my final game probably would have been in an ideal situation 7 days before the season started, and I would have wanted to have played my team that I had very much in my thoughts for sort of 60 or 70 minutes of that game, then give them the whole week on that training ground just to fine-tune all the little pieces. But these sort of games, as we've seen Tottenham Hotspur play again today. That's 4 days before the season starts, so it is different. And a lot is expected of teams with sponsorship now, massive amounts of money coming into the clubs.
It's a clever ball over the top, but it's too far for Vidal. Tottenham involved in the 3rd, 4th playoff earlier. And if they've their heads screwed on, they'll be flying back tonight. far away from the airport here, actually. Cross by Kroos. Marcus Vasquez, who for the last 5 seasons had played for predominantly Real Madrid B, had been with their C team his first season, 2010-2011. Benatia. Cross for Jerome Boateng, who's okay again after that stretch a few minutes ago. They've only lost one of their pre-season games on the pitch. That was 2-1 defeat to Augsburg in the semi-final of the Telecom Cup, which was played in Mönchengladbach. They were 45-minute games, and the entire tournament was played off in one day. But they have lost penalty shootouts to Borussia Mönchengladbach, Guangzhou Evergrande, and in the Super Cup of the weekend to Wolfsburg. And this Bayern's 3rd game in 5 days. Forward again by Boateng, but couldn't pick Thomas Muller out. Vidal, good vision, getting Douglas Costa away down this left-hand side. The new signing from Shakhtar, and Vidal, and Alaba, and Vidal. Xabi Alonso, Vidal. They're trying to pass Real Madrid to death here. It's a corner.
It's good to see Vidal involved in that type of football for his team. Said before, no matter who you are or where you've come from, when you play for a team being transferred for a massive amount of money, you really want to make your mark very early. You want the fans to understand what you're all about. I think certainly last night Vidal, Douglas Costa certainly showed what they were worth.
Brilliant cross by Douglas Costa, that was, from the left-hand side as well. Having been played down the right last night, Pep Guardiola using him however he can to see what can be produced by this fine Brazilian who hasn't had a break this year. He was involved last month in the Copa America. And he missed in the penalty shootout in the quarter-final against Paraguay, as Brazil exited in the final 8 again. Again, a penalty shootout. Lano's spot kick from 4 years is still travelling. Xabi Alonso will take the corner kick for Bayern. Easily away. Sergio Ramos is making a brilliant break upfield, and this is Sergio Ramos on the ball now, and it needed another fine touch. Rafinha anticipated very well. What a break.
He's just done that all his career. Fairness to him, he's calmed down a little bit, but that was just like the very, very young Ramos that we watched play many times as a kid, who was just so enthusiastic about everything about the game of football.
Wide for Vidal, and very well covered for Dani Carvajal. Spent a bit of time in the Bundesliga with Bayer Leverkusen. Was in Spain's original World Cup party of 30, but then was one of the 7 dropped.
I've always been impressed with him whenever I've watched him play. No bad players play for Real Madrid, but been, as I've said, very impressed with his overall game. Stage last night in both of these teams' games, both of them comfortable, weren't they?
नमस्कार बाबूजी।
कैसे दिया है? कितने का?
बाबूजी 30 रुपए का, बिल्कुल ताजा बाबूजी, मलाई वाला मीठा बाबूजी।
ये 30 रुपए का। कल लूट मचा रखी है तुम लोगों ने? 15 का दे रहे बता।
बाबूजी क्या बात कर रहे थे? सुबह से हम धूप में खड़े हैं बाबूजी। अरे वो रोटी खानी है बाबूजी, 15 की तो लागत नहीं है हमारी।
चोर है तू, चोर।
Marcelo.
अरे वो लाल शर्ट वाले बाबूजी
क्या हुआ?
कितने का लिया आपने?
ये 35 रुपए की।
35 रुपए का? और कितना कम कराया इस ड्रिंक में आपने?
पागल है तू? बात किया तुमने?
They'll bring a lot of pace down the wings of Douglas Costa. I think we know that with Bayern Munich. As if they didn't carry enough of a threat. Maybe Benatia. Good ball down the middle from Muller, who couldn't keep his feet. And quite a few within the stadium. I feel there was a very good reason for that. Xabi Alonso is down now. It'll be a free kick for Bayern Munich, but quite a few home supporters feeling they should have had a penalty before that.
Well, certainly contact, but then probably over-exaggerated afterwards by Muller. I think just watching the game though, you just see degrees of tiredness in each of the players. Parts where they're just a little extra stretch here and there after little runs.
They'd fallen down inside the box, but the challenge certainly starting outside. Götze has had his pocket picked.
Once again looking for Vasquez with that pace down the right. Ball not good enough. You just saw him break from a really deep area.
Vasquez with a chance tonight, the Galician, to show what he's all about.
Reminds me a little bit about Theo Walcott. He has a similarity in the way that he moves across the ground. Mobile.
It's fallen inside for Vidal, and it may yet do again. Douglas Costa, big deflection, whipped away by Sergio Ramos. Bayern come ever closer.
Yeah, once again, almost a deflection. Which could have gone in their favour, which started the game for them last night.
Rafinha is on the overlap. Overhit for the goal kick. Wells close control, and Douglas Costa with the strike. Very important block by Dani Carvajal.
It's one of them that could have gone anywhere from here. Keeper under all sorts of pressure. It's Costa knowing that he's just got to beat that first man with the ball. Putting it in the right place, the danger area where any little touch can cause a problem for the home side.
Both these sides already comfortably awaiting the draw for the group stage of the Champions League. Celtic reaching the playoff round tonight, 0-0 away in Baku at the Topik Bakramov Stadium, the ground named after that World Cup linesman from 1966. 0-0 in the night away to Karabakh. Celtic winning 1-0 in aggregate. Astana from Kazakhstan went through. They've beaten HJK Helsinki 4-3 in the night and in aggregate. And CSK Moscow have won 3-2 away at Sparta Prague in the night and 5-4 on aggregate. Those are the three games that have been decided. A few others being played. Among those, Salzburg having their wings clipped at the moment. 3-0 down in the night, 3-2 in aggregate down away to Malmö. Club Brugge 0-0 with Panathinaikos at the moment. The Greek side won 2-1 last week. Steaua Bucharest are 2-1 up in the night, 3-2 in aggregate away. Partizan Belgrade. It's Boateng. First touch of Muller was over strong. Isco. Well, he had been the first signing of Carlo Ancelotti. The jury is still out for many as to whether the 30 million that Malaga were paid has been reimbursed yet. Will he be a regular under the new manager?
I think we all know the competition he's up against. Two the more expensive players who play a similar sort of role to him.
It's a glorious ball for Vidal to find Muller. Here's Xabi Alonso. Vidal getting into position around the penalty spot. The ball has been threaded through so wonderfully. Lam with the tee up, and it's a fine strike, but just pulled wide in the end by Muller. They're having the better chances, Bayern.
Yeah, tidy play, nice piece of pass work here, there and everywhere. And in the end, Muller slices it across, side footer right across through the legs of Ramos. That's the one that normally gives goalkeepers problems. If it goes through a defender's legs, they don't see it till the very last moment. And then Navas himself was probably not going to get that if it had been on target.
Carvajal. Xabi Alonso, good ball forward. This is Muller. Bayern hunting in packs now. Lam. Oh. Lam brought down. I think it's just outside. Ooh. That's what Marcelo's saying. It's what Felix Breitsch is saying as well. And we're going to have a yellow card here as well. Rafinha protesting. He thinks it should just be inside and be a penalty kick.
I mean, Marcelo was just completely sold. Didn't know what to do there, was very, very late. Marcelo's outside the box. I guess the initial contact must have been just outside the box, but not by much. Not by much at all.
Another step from Muller. And that would have been a penalty kick, but instead a free kick instead for Bayern. It's Alaba with it, against the wall, and the rebound for Xabi Alonso. Best not to dwell on. It's offside anyway.
Big opportunity. At this level, have got the ability to miss that wall completely. Obviously strikes the ball fantastically well. That sort of opportunity at this sort of game, this sort of stage of the season. I'd love to have seen Douglas Costa have a little shot on it there. Whips the ball in with great pace.
Lost a lot of cohesiveness and danger up front. Only real opportunity coming 7 minutes in when Kroos fired just wide. And it's Cheryshev, Russian international, who narrowly missed out on the World Cup. Europa League winner whilst on loan with Sevilla in 2014. He was the one who was nudged. Now trying to nudge his way into the Benitez reckoning.
Yeah, well, pretty much his first piece of action tonight as well, isn't he? He's been just doing the job for the team more than anything else on that left-hand side. He's the type of player who will find it unbelievably difficult to break into this team on a regular basis at the moment. Oh,
Just as well the net was there. Whatever that was intended to be.
well, I don't think they get enough practice because, as I said, normally Cristiano Ronaldo or Gareth Bale would just take them. I mean, so it's a little bit of an unknown quantity for the rest of the team nowadays.
Carvajal was caught by Xabi Alonso, now he's going to go in the book. There's a bit of bite in this encounter. It's a yellow card each in the Audi Cup final.
Let's have a look. Well, it's one of them. Gets there first, Carvajal, so any normal situation he's going to get booked. Talked earlier about players talking to each other. You can actually see them talking to each other. No tackling, no tackling. But we've had a couple in this game already that have just reminded each of them what it's all about.
So will this be a slightly better free kick? It's Perosu's over it, didn't go the direct route. And down now is Mehdi Benatia, so free kick for Bayern instead. Bata Borisov through to the playoff round of the Champions League. They've beaten Videoton of Hungary 1-0 on the night, 2-1 on aggregate in Borisov. Videoton with the honour once of knocking Manchester United out of Europe. I think it was actually the last game before the European ban. Xabi Alonso. Haven't really been threatened a lot so far defensively of Bayern. Gross has probably been the biggest danger to his former side. Muller again couldn't get the close control absolutely right. He's sitting out most of last night's semi-final, but coming on towards the end. Arjen Robben again, by the way, even though he's here, won't be involved tonight, sitting it out entirely. Xabi Alonso receiving from Boateng. Vidal, Muller. Muller with the strike, big deflection! Oh, it's hit the post! Bayern, very unfortunate, but had it gone in, they'd have been very lucky.
Yeah, Muller just given too much time, 25 yards away from goal. Not very often you see players of that quality not closed down when they're in this area. Decides to have a whack. He's well off target, but well, I think would have been very fortunate rather than anything else had that gone in. Ramos is trying to get out of the way of it. Navas scrambling across his goal. It's going really wide. It's completely wrong-footed. From Real's point of view, pleased to see that hit the post.
Well, they haven't been the better side by any stretch of the imagination, but Real would have been majorly unfortunate had that gone in. Ridiculous deflection, Keylor Navas, and we saw how good he was at the World Cup last year. Scrambling across goal, he wasn't going to reach it.
If we're looking to, advantage on the game and who's doing better than who, I think both coaches were reasonably satisfied with the teams up to now. I think both will be honest enough to know that they weren't going to go out there and win this 3-4, 5-0. Certainly be 2 or 3 or 4 up in the first half. I think got to be a cagey affair. Certainly not full-blooded at the moment, but both sides showing that they have enough about them to hold on to each other and make it very tight and close.
Aim down the middle for Muller. And again, his control leaving quite a lot to desire. Douglas Costa in a very good position in the middle, but unfindable. Beyond Hesse up front.
I think looking at the game, the pace of the game is fairly easy at times, but there's bursts of energy from both sets of players. And of course, taken into consideration last night, I think there could well be a few things changing at half-time. Well, I think since coaches will be looking at players and saying, how are you feeling? If there's any sort of tightness at all, I think we'll see a number of changes. Might have had a game plan, but I think they will have a very more flexible game plan tonight in view of the games that the lads have had recently.
There's a mammoth bench, by the way, for Real Madrid. Isco, latest to pick up a little knock in what's been a very physical game. They've named 13 substitutes of Real. Fabio Coentrão, Cristiano Ronaldo, Karim Benzema, not among those. There is Lucas Silva, who came at the start of the year from Cruzeiro. A bit of running for David Alaba there. Hesse fouled by Douglas Costa. His old side Shakhtar Donetsk are 1-0 up at the moment against Fenerbahce in the Champions League final qualifying round, 1-0 in aggregate as well. Having to play in Lvov these days in the west of the country due to the conflict on the border with Russia. And their own stadium, the Donbass Arena, half destroyed, unfortunately, one of the venues for Euro 2012. Kroos will take the free kick. For me, he and Ramos have been the best two for Real so far tonight. He's put a bit of pressure defensively on Dani Carvajal there, with Muller breathing down his neck.
Yeah, you mentioned that, and you look at players who are probably trying to work their way into the side. Casemiro being very quiet tonight. Cheryshev not really done very much at all. I think, yeah, you know, they've got to really shine in games like this. Times Carvajal, for me, once again shows how useful he is. He's got Douglas Costa against him on that side, so that's a test for him, but he's handled that reasonably well up tonight.
Danilo and Casemiro both coming in from Porto. 6 players signed. Kiko Casilla, the goalkeeper, coming from Espanyol, but David De Gea still expected to be the main goalkeeping target, and it doesn't really feel as if Real have done much of the transfer market at all yet this summer. Still have a few weeks. Douglas Costa, brilliant turn. Good centre. Somehow wouldn't go in. The strike from Goetze. Muller was prone. And somehow Keylor Navas kept that out. Not that he knew a huge amount about it.
Douglas Costa is just going to... I mean, he's a big name anyway for me in football, but I think this club and this setting is just going to absolutely make him shine right to the top. Brilliant movement, great turn, a fantastic pullback. He just looks to be giving them something different again now, doesn't he? Watch this for a little spin, turn, absolutely perfect, and doesn't panic, picks out a wonderful pass. Goetze does everything right, but look at that, 4 people on the line protecting the goal. Three outfield players and a goalkeeper. He looks up, picks him out. Goetze tries to pick his spot, keeps his head down, which he's got to do. In the end, it's a decent save, but what a player, this left-side or right-sided player. Well, he'll play anyway under this manager, won't he?
Actually, Keylor Navas did very, very well there as well. He got Muller out of the way, anticipated where the shot was going, had to recalculate Goetze's effort very quickly. And that was a solid shove on Muller for Navas to get back into position. What a break by Douglas Costa was in the first place.
Neuer hasn't had a huge amount to do so far, but he'll have to face the corner now. The deflected effort going over the top. And Denis Cheryshev with the loop deflected effort.
Yeah, first little burst into the game from Hesse. Rode a couple of tackles, setting it up for Cheryshev on that left-hand side. And once again, another deflective shot. Could well have given Neuer a problem this time.
So it'll be taken by Isco. We'll have 1 added minute at the end of this first half. Well, Shakhtar for years have impressed many in Europe. Now that looked a shove as well, I must say. And Felix Bryce had a good look at that. And it was Sergio Ramos on the end of it. It will be a corner, but it could have been a lot more. It was Boateng. I think Ramos probably helped himself to it a little bit.
Yeah, it's just that little, well, I don't think he could do a lot about that. It looked as if Ramos perhaps put it on a little bit.
Isco's corner.
But the contact was definitely there, and it was an arm first, wasn't it? That was the problem.
Potentially a good call for a penalty at both ends in the past couple of minutes. It's Isco to send the corner kick in, and there won't be time for Douglas Costa to do anything with the break, and he would have been in. There was nobody between him and the goal apart from keeper Keylor Navas. What a very interesting first half. Douglas Costa, well, with every... and he doesn't have to join the queue for autographs a little later. Sebastian Roeder's also on with Lewandowski for the start of this second half. Bayern Munich and Real Madrid. And so far, both defences a bit tighter than the security. Quality game so far. Bayern very much with the upper hand. Real looking to start as well as possible. They had a good spell of 2 or 3 minutes right at the start of the game. That is not Benny Wright, but I'm sure he's in the crowd somewhere. We heard from Paul Breitner at half-time as well, enjoying the occasion, certainly thinking the Bayern should be well in front, but they're not, despite all the opportunities that they've been enjoying. By Rafinha. So an extra threat up front with the arrival of Robert Lewandowski. He played around 15 minutes last night. In terms of the strike force, everybody important being given a run out by Pep Guardiola ahead of the start of their cup campaign next weekend away at Nottingham, and then the following weekend they kick off at home to Hamburg. Götze and Lahm, the 2 players withdrawn to allow Roeder and Lewandowski in for this second half. Very much as you were for Bayern up front. Mario Götze admitting in the run-up to this Audi Cup final that this will be the make-or-break season for him. It's his 3rd campaign in Bayern colours, having been signed from Borussia Dortmund for 37 million, and the consensus really is that he looked a lot better in gold and black than he has done in red and white, despite lifting 2 titles in a row. Rafinha. Captain's armband is now with Manuel Neuer as a result of Lahm being withdrawn.
scrappy 3 minutes opening of this second half. The side really managing to get hold of the ball, move it around the way they like to do. Again, changes half time in games like this. It just takes a second or two, or a moment or two, or a minute or two, or a few minutes even to settle down. At the moment, both teams having a look around, seeing what's what, seeing what changes the opposition have done, just making sure that they don't make mistakes rather than anything else.
Stretched by Mendy. Came on at half-time with Marco Asensio. Tussle between he and the newly arrived Sebastian Rode. Vasquez wins the free kick. Right in front of goal, the challenge by Benatia, who's been booked for that. But now that would be harsh in the league game.
Well, he's got his body there, and he's entitled to get his body there. You used the word won the free kick. I think that's the right saying, to be honest.
Well, it's a foul, it's a free kick, and that's that.
That's it, yeah. Well, it's a free kick because he gets his body there, but for me, that's really the right thing to do as a defender as well. If you're there first, get your body there, protect the ball.
Kroos over the free kick. What a marvellous save by Neuer to deny his former colleague.
You get the feeling he might have known what was coming there, don't you? Neuer read it perfectly well. There's a lot of goalkeepers all over the world that might well have beaten. Just get an idea that Neuer knew exactly what Kroos could do there.
Obviously still colleagues at international level. There was Kroos with the corner. There's Carvajal. Put out by Alaba. It's a good free kick.
Yeah, it's a great strike and it's a fantastic save. I mean, his fingertips right in that top corner. Quite a few goalkeepers around the world that just wouldn't have got anywhere near that.
He was a great servant of Bayern Munich for many seasons, was Toni Kroos. Did the League and Cup double 3 times. It would have been 4 times had he not been away on loan at Bayer Leverkusen in 2010. And they did the double. I still remember the very first goal he scored for the club. UEFA Cup winner against Red Star Belgrade, and you and me were working on it back in 2007. How's your memory, Brian?
Too much of a test, that, Will. You're a lot younger than me. Your memory's a lot brighter than mine.
He would have been 17 at the time. That's when he announced himself to the world. Struggled in that game. Bayern, they were behind to Red Star. What a star he's made himself since then. Header won by Benatia, who seemed to duck out of that challenge a little bit in the end. He is now on a yellow.
I understand you're keeping a record of the players, Will, but the record that you and I did then was...
No, I just remember it.
It's quite beyond me, to be honest.
I don't write these things down.
A little bit of a lull in the game, isn't it, really? You know, I think we're expecting a little bit more than this second half, as I've said. No one's really settled into it yet. Roder on the ball. He did exceptionally well last night, didn't he? He really worked his socks off last night.
Here's Rafinha. Vidal. And Muller keeping it alive. There was a good pull back in the middle as well to try and find Robert Lewandowski at the near post.
Well, that's without a doubt an added danger. The Madrid defence to put up with, because once Lewandowski's in there, he is liable to get on the end of anything. We saw a wonderful goal from him as well last night. Muller teeing him up.
Xabi Alonso will take the corner kick for Bayern, and it's a good deep one. It was a fabulous delivery. Walking header from Benatia. Just needed to be a bit more accurate.
He might feel he could have done better. There's people around him there, of course, but he has got a decent header on it. A little bit of a push in the back. He should have hit the target at least.
Very casual is our Pep, as usual. Well, they may not have lifted the European Under-21 title. That went to Sweden gloriously, defeating Portugal in the shootout, but Spain did still win the Euro Under-19s. Marco Asensio and Borja Mayoral on Real's books. Mayoral at the moment on Real's bench. He's top scorer in the competition, and Asensio was named player of the tournament. He was named the golden boy. Might be a golden chance for Bayern here. It wouldn't fall right for Muller.
No, it's typical of what we've seen up to now. Everything's a little bit scrappy. The ball wasn't bouncing right for anyone there. No one really's got a hold of the game by the scruff of the neck. Likes of Alonso out there, you would expect to do well. Is doing a good job for his team, but nobody's really dominating the game up to now.
Casemiro and Lucas Vazquez with the two to go off at half-time, replaced by Iramende and Asensio. Marcelo trying to keep Muller quiet. That's out by Marcelo. So here come a whole succession of changes. Luka Modric is going to come on, and James Rodriguez and Alvaro Arbeloa are the three who are making their way on. It's good luck to Marcelo, first of all. James Rodriguez, who netted in the 2-0 victory over Tottenham yesterday. Modric, Arbeloa and James, the three to make their way on. Rudder. Forward by Xabi Alonso, and Vidal was very well policed.
Yeah, Navas just showing how alive and alert he is. Right to the edge of his box to take that high, and very, very handsomely.
Cherry Chef has gone off also. Lucas Vazquez is still on the pitch. Here's Rafinha. It's now 6 changes for Real Madrid in the game. Two for Bayern. Rafinha.
The game's actually gone into one of those classic pre-season friendly game modes, hasn't it, really? Either side really exerting themselves. Both teams looking fairly comfortable.
Vidal and centred for Rode, and if both sides remain very comfortable, then we go straight to penalties.
Yeah, what you can say is, though, both sides have plenty of people out there who can do something special out of nothing, but right now, as I've said, both teams just seem to have settled into a little, well, come on, let's enjoy it, let's use it from a fitness routine point of view.
Now, extra changes coming, and Juan Bernat, who scored the opener last night, is going to come on for Arturo Vidal. Third change for Bayern. Probably more effective last night than tonight, but Bayern up front look an excellent proposition again this season. Scored 80 goals in the league last season, which was a dip of 14 on the season before and a dip of 18 on the season before that. I think they've made some very good captures up front, don't you? 37 million for Vidal, 30 for Douglas Costa. Juan Bernat is on and Vidal is off. Marcelo, Hesse and Isco, the three who went most recently. There's no 6 sub-limit in this competition either. They'll still have about 8 changes to make if they desire. This is covered by Douglas Costa, great ball in the middle, and Lewandowski should have scored. An absolute corker last night. An absolute howler this evening.
Well, I said a moment or two ago, a quiet game could be lit up by something special. And once again, it's Douglas Costa who's been very quiet this second half. But how does Lewandowski miss that? Well, it's unbelievable. He's in the middle of the goal, 3.5 yards out, and he side puts it wide. Costa once again just proving exactly what he's all about. Pace, twisting, and a great ball into the box.
Would have been easier to score. They haven't managed to get the ball much to Douglas Costa much in this second half, but as soon as they do, he is switched on.
I remember my good friend Peter With scoring a goal from that distance, where he almost missed. He hit the post, come off his right knee. He claims he did that on purpose, of course, but won a European Cup final with it from that distance.
It was a significant goal. This is Alaba for Douglas Costa, and he's earned the corner kick this time. He might not immediately strike you as a Pep Guardiola kind of player, because obviously at Barca and Bayern he's built a reputation for possession football. Good chance for Muller, which was denied by Navas. There's been a lot of possession, certainly for Bayern tonight, but no goals yet.
Yeah, well, they've had 2 chances in the last couple of minutes there, which will surely liven the game up a little bit. No doubt Lewandowski should have scored. Muller in on a good opportunity there as well, so the 2 main men who do most of the damage more often than not, just sort of flexing their muscles a little bit.
Well, Bayern definitely should be in front by now, but I think we were saying that at half-time as well. Rode almost released by Muller. Real are just getting bogged down again. Second weekend of November is when the first Classico of the league season has been arranged for. Modric, short release, James. Carvajal. It's by Luka Modric.
Good delivery for Alvaro Arbeloa, and he'll stay wide if needed, and he might be. Asensio, Arbeloa, and Kroos. Good try. Neuer with a fine save. Keeping him out.
He's kept it out brilliantly as well, and I think he meant it. Not many keepers would save it this way. Kroos with a great shot. It's dipping everywhere. Neuer's a little bit worried about trying to handle that one, so he just punches it pretty much the full width of the pitch.
They anticipated that one very, very well indeed. Further instructions. Xabi Alonso will go off. Pierre Hjulberg, the Dane, on his 20th birthday, comes on in this final at the Allianz Arena. Being as influential as he would have wished, apart from on the scoreline. So Hjulberg on for the final 25 minutes. Shot by Arbeloa or Asensio, a 19-year-old who looks a very good prospect. 2 late goals in stoppage time against France to win Spain their semi-final at the Euro Under-19s in Greece. It's cut out by Boateng. There's Bernat. Very well won back, but only Madrid waiting in the middle for Real.
A little bit of pressure from Real. Haven't seen too much of that in this second half. Little touches by Modric up to now have proven to just give them that little bit of strength in there, perhaps. Strength in possession, that is, more than anything else, isn't it? Not had a lot of possession in the game, have they, at all?
James Rodriguez across for Marco Asensio again. Signed in December from Real Mallorca and then loaned back to them for the remainder of the season. Boy from Parma. He's got a lot of potential. Easy claim by Neuer.
Not enough in the box there.
Sharp piece of policing to deny Dani Carvajal. For the qualifying round of the Champions League, Basel have beaten Lech Poznan by 1-0, 4-1 on aggregate. Celtic coming through in Baku against Karabakh. 0-0 on the night, 1-0 on aggregate. And Club Brugge are 2-0 up now in Panathinaikos, and they lead 3-2 against the Greeks on aggregate. And in a meeting of 2 giants of the Eastern game, Partizan Belgrade are 3-2 up in Steaua Bucharest on the night, and it's 4-3 Partizan on aggregate. Messy between Lewandowski and Ramos. Glorious open goal, which he was unable to convert.
When you think of the way he put the ball in the back of the net last night, and you see him miss like that, it's quite unbelievable, isn't it?
One offsetting the other. It's now 3-0 to Club Brugge. And it might be 1-0 to Real Madrid. Neuer got back in time. Ieremende unable to put it away. A bit more forceful, and it might just have worked.
Yeah, he tried to side foot it in from what, 25, 28, 30 yards even. Of course, Neuer got back across, but great opportunity to really have put his foot through that.
He went for accuracy and not power. Muller was unable to provide either.
Yeah, of course, Tony Kroos there with a great turn on the edge of his own box, under pressure, just drifted away.
Lucas Vazquez trying to get the breakaway down the right-hand side, but again, wonderfully covered. Nothing wrong with Boateng's pace now.
Now, every now and again, you see one of these players open out, and it just shows you exactly what they've got.
Oh my, there's an elbow and a half.
Yeah, definitely caught him.
Borja Mayoral is being readied along with Danilo, the one who's just come from Porto. They'll be coming on very shortly for Real. Lewandowski got very close for comfort. James Rodriguez outside of the foot, lovely ball aimed for Asensio, and he almost made it.
Yeah, little flashes, a little piece of brilliance there. James Rodriguez just shows what he's about.
And so does Roda. And Roda then had the door unceremoniously slammed in his face again by Sergio Ramos, and no one better to do it than he. Ramos has been booked. It is the fourth yellow card of the game. He's having a busy old night, is Felix Bright.
He's added to the spice of the game, hasn't he, really? I think there's no question that Ramos knew exactly what he was doing there.
So Toni Kroos and Dani Carvajal are the two being withdrawn, to be replaced by Borja Mayoral, who's top scorer in Spain's European Under-19 triumph in Greece this summer. Mainly plays for Real Madrid Castilla, the B team under Zinedine Zidane. And Danilo, signed from Porto for €31.5 million. A Copa Libertadores winner with Santos in 2011 alongside Neymar and Ganso and Olano. And the 2015 Copa Libertadores final, it's on later tonight. River Plate hosting Tigres, 2 AM your time on this channel. Vazquez being withdrawn for Danilo's arrival. Featured in the Brazilian side, beaten in the Olympic Games final in London by Mexico. Scored 4 goals in last season's Champions League for Porto, which for a right-back is very useful.
When you look at the amount of movement and changes that's gone on, especially in the Real Madrid side, it's no wonder they're not playing with any sort of real pattern. Very much, as I've said, this second half has been, for me, very much a pre-season match. 2 best chances obviously have gone to Bayern, but overall I think Real's attitude has been treating it very much as a pre-season game. Fitness levels looking at more than anything else.
Has been a bit of bite in this at the same time.
Yeah, there's been a few tackles without a doubt. Yeah, a few niggles here, there and everywhere. I think we saw a better half in the first half. I think the second half has been very, very bitty.
Maybe the tempo was just a bit too high. Certainly haven't been able to recapture it in the second period. This is Arbeloa with the cross. It's good delivery. Danilo with the attempt up front. He signed a 6-year deal, having come across for 31 million.
Well, it's a big shout for him, isn't it, really, Danilo? As we've said, I think Carvajal, for me, is a really, really excellent fullback. He gives them that extra strength on that right-hand side. Roda, who played, as I've said, really well last night.
Douglas Costa now has a chance to break, but couldn't find Lewandowski down the middle. Yeah, pace has certainly abated a lot in the second period.
I know he's played well on that left-hand side, but I'd just like to see him trot over to this right wing and cut in on that left foot of his. I'm not seeing that.
Lewandowski, Douglas Costa, didn't quite find the way through. Højbjerg. Nipping in ahead of Marco Asensio. There's been a boot lost. Boateng. It's sort of interesting that the All Blacks announced today that they would be wearing all black boots during the Rugby World Cup. Try that in football. Højbjerg still going. And it's Rode! Curls it wide. Good chance, good build-up by Bayern again.
Once again, Rode tries that turn, bending the ball in the far side. He had one last night, he got nowhere near the target, a little bit closer this time. Perhaps if he has another one, he might get it on target. Still time for somebody to do something special, but I think it's going to take something really special to win this game tonight.
Flicked on by Asensio, but denied again by Pierre Højbjerg.
It's like wondering if the likes of Ramos still out there on the booking, what that would stand for if it was to get another yellow card. So just in a game like this, when they've made so many changes, you just think that perhaps to cover that option might be something they need to think about.
For the corner kick. I remember Brian Robson being sent off in South Africa 22, 23 years ago, pre-season match, and the red card carried over and missed the league game or two. There's Pierre Højbjerg.
Rafa Benitez is using this as a defensive set-up second half. Work out, sit in there, don't give much away. On the training ground, lots of teams do lots of exercises like this where they sit in. A good 20-minute, perhaps half an hour session of making sure the opposition don't score against you, but I'm not sure it's really doing them overly much. Well, I don't know, I mean, here for me, we've seen so little of them going forward, haven't we?
Well, there may be a few additional changes for Bayern that are being furiously gesticulated by Pep Guardiola. It was an Irish referee who sent Brian Robson off in that game, by the way, in South Africa, Errol Sweeney. Relocated back home a few years later. Basketball coach and a school teacher these days, I think. That's a cracker, both in terms of the shot and the save. Navas with the denial. Rode with the cross. It's cut out by Boateng. One Bernat. He was involved in the sharp end yet again, Bernat. That was a very, very good try. What a save by Navas.
Yeah, good save. As you said, as we've said all along, the only chances really of tonight have been very much in Bayern's favour. This isn't a defensive practice, I don't know what is, because just look at them there, sitting in, keeping the shape, keeping the discipline.
Well, have a bit more defending to do as the free kick goes Bayern's way. Keylor Navas only played 6 league games last season behind Iker Casillas, who's now at Porto, having gone on a free. They have signed Kiko Casilla from Espanyol for 6 million. It's a large bid for David De Gea, certainly expected before the month is out. Navas was signed for 10 million at the start of last season. Does Alaba fancy a crack? He does! Good try! And spilled by Navas. And it's offside against Benatia. Officiating's been a bit stern really tonight, but this was a real corker by Alaba. And he was just leaning offside. If he'd got in directly, he'd have been okay.
Yeah, he set himself up for the shot. He certainly took most things tonight for Bayern.
So Benko comes on for Rafinha for the final 10 minutes. As happened last night. There's Thomas Muller, 17 years old, Benko is. Potential latest wunderkind to come through the system. Free kick, rather fouled by Asensio. Basel, Club Brugge, Partizan and Malmo have all made it through to the playoff round of the Champions League over the next 2 midweeks, all with big wins tonight. Steaua Bucharest, Salzburg, Panathinaikos, Lech Poznan all out.
I was just going to say how well Roda does for them in there. He really does pop up really well. Very lively, alert to all sorts, and then he just makes a silly mistake like that.
Yeah, there you go. It'll always happen when you're halfway through the praise.
Yeah.
Douglas Costa supporting the overlap from Alaba. The cross is good, the cross is marvellous. Muller's back flick for Lewandowski. Still has some work to do, still has a lot of white around him. Douglas Costa for Lewandowski again. Dainty chip, didn't quite come off. Rode again. It's been all about Bayern, and Real is simply allowing Bayern at them. Well, they won't be appreciating that if this is what life's going to be like in the Bernabeu this coming season. Sure, it won't be, obviously.
It's good to see Costa on this right-hand side as well. He's been out of the game in the second half.
That was almost a big opening for Lewandowski. Alaba playing it forward again. And play will be held up due to the injury to Sergio Ramos. He was caught. Now, what do you make about how Rafa Benitez has Real Madrid set up for this second half predominantly?
Well, I do think they've just gone into defensive mode. I mean, to be honest with you, they haven't really got they haven't got a forward line at the moment. They've got people who do play in wide areas. As Rodriguez genuinely doesn't play right up the middle, which he's having to do at the moment. Mendy's come on, Modric has come on. You know, they've sat there, they really have gone into it's not that they've not got good players out there, but they've got players out there who haven't got the players ahead of them that they can find and know they can do something special. You give it to Ronaldo, he can run 40 yards with the ball. You give the ball to Bale, he can run 40 yards with the ball. So really, they've just gone backwards and backwards more and more as the game's gone on.
7 minutes away from penalties in the Audi Cup final. Little shove off the ball by Arbeloa.
That particular shot now just tells you all about it. Every Real Madrid player inside his own half of the field, they're just not even chasing the ball up there. They're sitting there in their defensive setup.
The venue full to its 70,000 capacity tonight again for the finals night. Well, Borussia Dortmund have announced the increase of their stadium capacity to over 81,000 now. They've converted a small section, so it'll be an area of standing room for juniors. It's not going to be at the Sud Tribune, that famous yellow and black wall. It'll be at the other end, but 81,400 odd is their capacity for the coming season. The weekend away to visit a Bundesliga game if you fancy it during the season. It only costs around 20 euros to get in. Controlled by Rode. And Douglas Costa, chance to get the shot away, and it's a good try too. Narrowly wide of Navas's left-hand post. He's offering a huge amount, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean, he will. He'll light this place up. He's really electric. He thinks only about going forward when he gets